everyone, welcome back to my channel, eSpace Stamp Chick. This is Michelle. Thanks so much for visiting with me today. Today's video is going to be a tutorial for my Lovin' a Dozen 5x7 card sketch and guide. This is the sketch and guide that was released October, and it is guide number 2. So I usually release my sketch and guide in the middle of the month. So this came out middle October. It is now November, so I'm still working with this particular sketch and guide. And then in November, around the middle of the month, will be the new one, which will be number 3. So I started this in September. So this is already the second one. You can get this as a free download. It is a PDF. So I will link in the description down below the first video that launches this particular guide number 2, and you can go in there and click the link and you can get your free PDF. So this guide will show you a card that I made and lets you know everything that I used on the card. Also, it provides a sketch and then individual measurements. So if you just want to make one card instead of a whole dozen, you can easily do that. And then the second page is your cutting guide if you want to make a dozen. So it will, show you how to cut it and, make what I made. And I am going to be totally honest with you. There are some spelling mistakes on here I've noticed, but I can't fix it because I'd have to totally change the link. So just know that I put these together myself. And so, yes, sometimes I do make some spelling mistakes. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do better. But I am new to this, and this is only my second one. I'm hoping to do this every single month and to provide this totally free. So we want to make a card or cards. We want to make a whole dozen today of these. And I have chosen some paper. You're going to need 2 sheets of patterned paper. And then, of course, all your cardstock, which is listed on the second page here, exactly what you're going to need. So you need 12 pieces of cardstock that will be for your card bases. And those need to basically be, fold into a 5x7 card. So they measure 10 by 7 and you fold them in half. Then I have 2 different layers. And so you'll need 6 pieces of cardstock for one layer, 4 pieces for another, and then 2 sheets of patterned paper. And then you also will need cardstock or whatever you choose for your ovals, and you'll need 2 pieces each because I did layered ovals. So this is the first card that I made. So I have a red foil layer, I have a green layer, there's my patterned paper, and then I used cardstock and another foil here. So 5x7 cards do take more paper than your A2 cards, which is kind of traditional, at least in the United States. Most people make A2. But I think it's kind of fun to have some bigger cards, and it's nice because it gives you more space inside to write. It also holds money if you wanted to give this to somebody, not mail it, but just give it to someone and you want to slip a little bit of money inside, it would hold that for you easily. But I think for birthdays and Christmas and sometimes maybe thank you cards, it's nice to have a 5x7 card, something a little bit bigger and just something different. Okay, so I chose these 2 sheets. These are from Photo Play. They are new this year. They are the Winter Chalet collection, and I just bought them individually. So what I loved is this floral is just so beautiful. And then on the back has a really nice navy pattern. And we have this really great stripe. And then I love this because it's a really a winter pattern with pine cones and deer and snowflakes and mittens. So I think they coordinate really well. You want the sides to coordinate really well all together because you're going to flip the paper around and make different combinations. And so you want it to all go together if you can. All right. So to do this, let me move a couple things here. I already did a couple things to get us going. Let me show you. And I like, when I'm going to do a dozen, I just use a big Ziploc. This is a gallon size Ziploc bag that I can put everything into except for the 12 by 12 sheets. And I have it all right here ready to go as I'm getting things cut and prepped. Okay, so it keeps it all together. These are my card bases. This is, like I said, a 10 by 7 piece of cardstock that is scored in the center and ready to go. And I use Michael's Crafts cardstock, the Recollections brand. This is 110 pounds, so it's a nice weight. Okay, so I already have that. It's going to be white today. And then the layers are going to be this green and this blue, because I feel like it kind of goes out of what I owned in my stash. I felt like this went really well with the collection. I've already started cutting some of the layers. I'm going to show you how to cut layers, but I started cutting them because I didn't want to cut a whole bunch of layers in front of you, because that's kind of boring. So the bigger layer will be the blue and the smaller layer will be this green color. So I'm going to show you how to cut those. Then I already cut and did some stamping for my ovals. So I have this mirrored cardstock from Michael's Crafts, and this, I can't remember, it's not the silver. This one has a bit of a prism effect to it, so I can't remember the name of it. And then just basic white for the greeting part. And I have already stamped Wishing You Snowflakes, Friendship, and Winter Cheer on all of them. So these cards are really easy to mass produce because you're just making the same card. I also made these really pretty, I just love these, poinsettias. And I'm going to hold these up a little bit. They are with glitter paper, and I was going to use vellum underneath, but I could not find my vellum. So this is tracing paper. Okay, so basic tracing paper from the art department. I just die cut them, and then I intentionally offset the top piece so that way it didn't line up perfectly, but this die does line them up perfect if you want it. I just like them a little bit off center. So I just thought that was super pretty, really nice and shiny. So I have all of those pre-made. Okay, I'm going to get those out of the bag. And oops, there's one more here. So let me show you also what I'm using. I also die cut 3 different sizes of snowflakes to use. And this was a set, a die set that I'll show you in a minute here. And this is what the individual flakes look like. And I was only going to cut like 1 or 2 per card, and I thought, well, it's just as easy to run 3 through my die cut machine as it is 1 or 2. So I did all of those out of glitter paper. And they're so pretty. All right, so I got my greeting from this stamp set right here. It is from Frantic Stamper. It is called Hello Winter. And it's right there, Wishing You Snowflakes, Friendship, and Winter Cheer. So these really aren't Christmas cards. They're more of like a winter card. Maybe something you might even send in January, like as a Happy New Year or something like that. Or you could even add a happy birthday on there maybe and make it into a birthday card. The snowflakes are called Dendrite. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Dendrite snowflakes from Frantic Stamper. You get all 3 sizes in this package. And then the festive poinsettia from Frantic Stamper as well. This is, you get both dies in here. And like I said, you can match them up perfectly or offset them like I did. And these are amazing in all kinds of colors. So pretty. You could even add 2 of these layers so you have multiple petals going all over. I mean, these are just, I just love these. They're just gorgeous. One of my favorite dies. So that's what I used. And we're going to use all these items to put it together. I think this is going to look super pretty and super shimmery. So let me put these aside. And then I also have some silver sequins to add some additional bling if we need it. So let's go ahead and get started with our cutting. And then that way we can do some assembly, okay? And the cutting is really easy, but I do like to show how to do it just in case there's some questions. So let me grab my cutting board. And this is a really big cutting board, but it is my favorite one. And so I really love using it, and I feel like I get really great cuts, like it's accurate. And so that's why I use it. I know it doesn't like show on camera super great, but I really like it. All right, so let's look at the cutting portion today. So I already made the card bases, okay. I also need to make, I already did the ovals, right? So this part right here is the ovals, which could be an oval or a rectangle, and I give you the measurement of 4 1/4 by 3 and 4 by 2 3/4 inches for each size. And that's, you know, for the ovals, but you could also just use your trimmer and make rectangles. You don't have to do ovals, or if you want to do a circle, that's totally up to you. However you want to do that center part. So the layers and the pattern paper is what we need to focus on cutting today. So let me show you. Okay, the largest layer is going to be the blue. And on my cutting guide, I show a particular way to cut this, but I actually think there might be a better way to cut it. And on my guide, I just show that you cut 2 rectangles going like this. But what I have figured out is that you could actually do it a little differently, and the leftover paper would be more usable. So that's what we want to do right now, which means we're going to turn the paper on the 11-inch side, and we're going to cut this at 4 1/2 inches. So we get this lined up here. So 4 1/2 inches, and then trim it to 6 1/2. So that's our keeper. This is an extra piece, which is really usable if you need to do sentiments or something on another piece. And then you have this piece, which measures 6 1/2 inches. So I'm just going to trim this at 4 1/2. That's the piece we're going to keep. And that leaves this big piece right here that you could do a lot with. And so I think that is a much better way to cut this than how I show with just the 2 pieces going off, because it leaves you a really long piece that I just don't know. It's only going to be about 2 inches wide. I just don't know that that's going to be as usable as having this big chunk, because you could make a smaller card with this. So your choice how you want to cut this. You could do whatever. There really isn't a wrong way. This is just kind of how I like to do it. All right, so we've got that. I already cut all the others, but I just wanted to show you how to cut those. And let's cut the other piece. This is the smaller layer. Okay, so this is layer 2. And this is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So our first cut is we're going to turn this on the 11-inch. And we're going to cut it at 6 1/4. And this way that we cut it is going to allow you to get 3 out of 1 piece of cardstock, so you don't have to use as much cardstock. So it's 6 1/4, and it's going to be 4 1/4, which is basically just cutting this in half. So now you have your 2 pieces, and this last one we're going to cut to 6 1/4. And then we're going to have to trim it to 4 1/4. So that gives you 3 layers out of 1 piece of cardstock, and then this is what is left. So I think you just heard my dog there. But this is a really good piece for sentiment strips, and you know, then definitely you could do something with this. So I think it's pretty good because you get some usable pieces left over. All right. So that's the layers, and then now let's cut the actual cardstock. All right, so this is 12 by 12 cardstock. We need to cut the branding strip off. So I'm going to line this up at 12, and then I'm going to make sure that will cut off the whole branding strip. Not every 12 by 12 piece of paper, I am finding out, is really 12 by 12 once you cut the branding strip off. So it's important to look at that too in your paper. I've had some that they're just kind of wonky, the sizes. So anyways, you're going to start off by cutting each 4 by 6 piece. And then we'll cut them into diagonals. So this is 12 inches, so let's scoot it down to 8 and cut, and then scoot it down to 4 and cut. Then these are 12 inches long, so basically you're going to just cut them in half at 6. And same thing for each of these. Just go to the 6. All right, so that gives you your 4 by 6 pieces. Okay, now we need to cut these on the angle. And one word of advice: if you cut them all at the same angle, it'll be easier. But you can cut, like I'm going to cut all of these this way. You can cut some going this way, but just know that those pieces you can't intermix with the ones you cut going the other way. And I found that out kind of the hard way. So you won't, be able to flip things around and make it work. They will only work with the ones that are cut the way that they are cut. So anyways, hope that makes sense. Let me scoot this over a little bit so you can see better. Now, I'm going to cut them all going like this. So this corner is going to go, I'm going to put that right on the edge, and I'm going to let me move this up actually so you can see better. I know the rod's kind of in the way, but you're going to line up each corner right on the edge of your cutting guide and slice through. So that now gives me the 2 triangles, okay? So see, you can't just flip this around and utilize them. You have to intermix them with other papers, okay? Whereas like in some cutting guides, you can flip the pieces and all that. You can flip, but you have to use a different cutting guide, a different piece to finish. That makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm not making sense. So we're going to just line those up and cut. And then I just like to make a little pile with my sheets. So I am putting the left top corner and lining that up into my cutting guide on my paper trimmer. And I just want to make sure I keep doing the left top, because if I switch it, then I'll get the other diagonal cut, and then it'll still work, but you just won't be able to mix it. You'll have to make sure you cut a few that way so you have ones to flip-flop with. And you'll see once I start building the cards really what I'm talking about. Because I did make that mistake on my very first set of cards, but like I said, it works out. I just love that paper. It is so pretty. All right, so let's look at the second sheet here. We're going to do the exact same thing with this sheet. So that, again, makes it so easy because you're doing the same thing. Getting rid of that branding strip, cutting it to 12 inches. And then we're going to cut my sections here. These are going to be 4-inch sections. And then we're cutting them all in half, which is the 6-inch mark. So, really simple. Now, if you don't want to cut on the diagonal and you just want to have one piece of patterned paper, you can just leave them like this and use what you've already cut for your layers. Or we can come on a diagonal, which again, I'm going to do the left corner, line that up each corner. So it's the corner is going basically in the middle of where your blade slices through. Okay, so now I can make a card. Let's do this. I can make a card like that. I can make a card like that. You know, I can like totally intermix all these pieces, which is really fun. All right, so let's finish these up and then we can lay out some cards. So again, we're doing left corner. I kind of just have to keep saying that to remind myself. So I make the left top corner, so I make the right cut. Left top. You just got to keep scooting it till it gets lined up where the corner is in the center of your cutting guide. So that way it's getting split in two. Getting an equal rectangle on each side. Alright, I just kind of keep, sometimes when you get one centered, the other one moves. So you just got to keep moving it till they're all there. Alright. So that's all the cutting. Now, if you're going to make all these in one sitting, then you could probably just lay these out and start gluing. But if you're like, well, I don't know how many I can make at one time, might need to come back on this project. I use just a sandwich Ziploc, and that helps me kind of assemble. So each Ziploc gets, let's put this where you can see it, each Ziploc gets a card base, layer 1, layer 2, and then it would get one part of the triangle, another part of the triangle, the oval, it gets a poinsettia, and then it gets the snowflakes. Where's the other snowflake? Here we go. And I don't know that I'm going to lay it out exactly like this, but it's going to be something like this. And then that goes right into the Ziploc. And this one, you know, it's not big enough to close, but I'm okay with that. And then I have everything right here. I can set it aside like, you know, in a shoebox type of a thing or a bin, and they can all be separated. And then as I have time, I can go in and glue each one. And there, it's all ready to go for me. So it's an easy way to kind of make yourself like a little kit, basically. So that's one tip that I do. All right. Now, what I do like to do when I know I'm going to be pretty much making these all at the same time, is I lay out as many as I can of the layer 2, and I start kind of laying them out so that way I know how I'm going to do these, because sometimes I might want them to all be like different, right? So I know I want some of that one. And then, let's see here. We also want this side to show, right? So we're going to do that with the other back side. And let's see here. We went, do I have, let's see. There we go. Nope. Can't do that one. That's the thing with these triangles, you've got to, they only work a certain way. Whoops. I'm not getting these to match up too good. All right. Here we go. So I need, let's see here. How am I going to do this? These are so... Can I not do these two together? I think I can. No, that doesn't work either. Here we go. There. No. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. So maybe I can't. I thought I could. There's got to be a way, right? Anyway, so you want to lay these out. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I'm having a hard time with this. But anyways, you want to start laying them out so that way you can get a variety of looks, right? So that way it's not all exactly the same. And, you know, this will give you different ones in different positions, even though like these two are exactly the same and these two are exactly the same, but they're in different positions. I mean, basically they're just kind of flip-flopped, but so you want to lay them all out, all right? Get your looks of how you want it to look. So let's glue one together, and then that way you can see a card assemble, all right? So we're going to do this one. So we grab a base, we grab a layer 1, and I'm just looking, I think I forgot my foam squares. Oh man, let me see here. I probably have some somewhere right around here. I think my foam squares are in the other room, so we might do one without foam squares. All right, I like foam squares because I really like popping up and giving the dimension, but I am just not. I think I forgot some. Oh wait, here's some. Let me see here, just a minute. These are, there we go. Here's some foam squares. They're a little bit thicker than what I like to use for foam. I usually use a thinner foam square. You can see kind of how thick these are. So let me see, I don't think I have any of the thin ones over here. I think I just have the thick ones. All right. Well, that's okay. We will use that. All right. So let's start with gluing our large base. This is layer 1. Onto our card base. I like, because it's a bigger card, I like how there is kind of a nice big border. So I'm just going to eyeball that, kind of get it as centered. Okay. And then now let's do layer 2. This one's getting stuck. Oh, there it goes. course, now that I'm filming, this is going to get stuck. Ugh. Let's see if we can get this cleaned out. Okay. And then we'll center this. I don't really use rulers, that's just not my thing. I just like to eyeball it. So it's not going to be exactly perfect, but it'll be good. Okay. And then now we will do, now there's two ways to do your pattern paper. You can do them where they touch and it leaves a bigger border on the outside, which is what I want to do today. But on my example card, I left a center border. And so you could do it that way too. So your choice on how you want to do that. Oops. And I am using the Barely Arts precision craft glue. I just like to put it in these little bottles. I'm just going to leave that not completely pressed down, because then I can kind of move it with this. When I put this one, man, this thing is just clogging up on me here. Okay. Spread out some of these globs here. You want to just make sure that those corners meet, since I'm not going to leave a center border. Okay, so you can see how it all meets. Give it a good burnish so it's nice and flat. Okay, so now, oops, I'm going to take this and glue it onto the other oval. Man, I probably have used this glue bottle so many times that it's time for a new glue bottle. Sometimes they just get kind of old. Kind of clogged up. Okay, so we'll just kind of center that on the oval. So it's going to be like that. Let's see here, how do we want to do our snowflakes? Let's get the 3 out. We don't have to use all 3, but they're here if we want to. I was thinking about putting one maybe underneath, and we could do kind of one on top and one over here. What do we think? Or do we like maybe both of them? What's kind of fun too with snowflakes is you can layer them too to make them even more. Something like that maybe, I think. All right. So let me use, this is going to be, I'm going to use my foam squares on this. put quite a few on here. Pop this up. I'm bad about like using a lot of foam, but I really like it to be secure and everything, so it's okay. This is going to be a little bit thicker foam than I really like. I like the thinner foam, but that's okay. Oops, there we go. Okay, whoa, one came off. Let's put that on there. We're going to center that. And then this big one, I want it to go underneath. Let me get some glue. Oh my goodness. I didn't bring any other glue over here with me either. Sorry about that, guys. Put just a little bit on some of the points. And I'm just going to lift up and oops, this foam square didn't want to move. There we go. A little extra glue there. Okay. Got that. And then this one I'm going to just glue on. Okay. Wondering, thinking about, let's see here, maybe one right there. Maybe this one does go down there. That would be pretty, I think. Let's put, whoops, some glue. So if you make these cards, I'd love for you to tag me. I'd love to see what you make. If you like doing card sketches, whether you make one or you make several, love to see it. I'll kind of put that right there. Okay, and so then now we just need, I think, a few sequins would be pretty. If I can get this package open. There we go. These are all the same size. Let's kind of lay them out here. Where do we want them? I think that'll be good. I really love this paper. I think it is so pretty. I can't wait to assemble the rest of the cards. I'll just be doing this one card on the video today, but you'll see all the finished cards in another video that I make with this particular sketch. Okay, so there we go. What do you guys think? I think this turned out really cute, really pretty. Love the paper. Oops, a little drop of glue there. But I will make the rest. It will be another video that will show you every single card I've made with this sketch, which will not just be this dozen, but I've done other groupings as well. And so you'll get to see all of those. So anyways, thanks so much for being with me tonight, guys. And I know this video went a little long, but it does show you how to use the guide, and hopefully that answers any questions and makes it easier for you. And if there's any questions, please leave me a comment, and always like and subscribe if you want to see more crafty inspiration. And you can follow me on Instagram as well at East Bay Stamp Chick if you want to see even more projects. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.